Welcome to this YouTube channel on how to buy businesses no cash down. I'm Carl Allen and I've been buying businesses for almost 25 years, more than 250 deals in 17 countries. This playlist is my 10-step process to buy a business no cash down. Think of it as a deal-making robot. Here's the next video in the sequence. There are 7 in total. Which brings us nicely into the deal structuring part of the programming, that our deal making robot. And I want to spend some time on this as it's probably the most asked question on how this entire process works. People understand clearly that you need to have a deal specification, you need to find businesses to buy, and you need to go and meet sellers. That's all common sense, but the no cash down part often confuses people. And I'm going to tell you now that it's actually the easiest part of the process. It's just like high school math and anyone can do it. Let me show you. And I want to teach you this part of the process using a real life deal. Not one of mine, but a deal that was done recently by someone inside of my network who watched this training just like you and took action to make it work for him. His name's Matt Little. Now, Matt's a regular Joe, in all fairness. He worked in IT sales and he was traveling all the time and he missed his family. He just had no work-life balance, and his biggest frustration, despite earning $80,000 a year, was that he had no ownership in the business that employed him. So he had no skin in the game. So all of his effort and skills were lining the pockets of his boss, the owner. He wanted to change that, and he wanted to own his own business in IT services. So Matt picked up his deal, which was a small IT services business, which is somewhere on the Gulf Coast of Florida. And he used the origination methods discussed earlier, and he came up with a total of 54 businesses that he liked. Probably too many, so immediately cut that list by more than half, and he looked deeper into 20 to 26 of those businesses, all different shapes and sizes, but all in IT services. And out of the 20 businesses he engaged with on the phone, he picked the best 7 to initially go and visit in meetings, and that resulted in 3 cash-free deal structures. He bought one of those last year and he's about to close the second one as well. So before I show you his deal structure, I want to explain the concept to you. And if you get this, then seriously, you can do deals for yourself. I'm not joking. So here we go. So imagine that the green box on the screen is the purchase price of the business. So if you were buying Simon Cohen's business or another seller that was just gifting it to you, so he or she could retire, then you wouldn't be paying anything for it. However, that only happens in about 1 in 10 deals. So assume for now that you're going to be paying something to buy the business. And what you pay for the business is in 2 parts. The first part, which is the yellow box, is the deposit. So that's what you pay the seller at closing, which is the day that you legally take ownership of the business. Now, the rest of the payments are made in the future, using the future cash profits of your new business. That is called seller financing, or in Europe, it's called deferred consideration. So ignore the terminology for now. Just know that we split the purchase into these 2 parts. Now, the deposit payment is made to the seller by the business itself because it offers up its assets to a financier who will fund a percentage of that asset value to allow you to make this deposit payment. I'm going to go through the details of this later in the training. So the finance from the assets is the red box, and as long as it's larger than what the yellow deposit box is, it will ensure that there are some monies left over, and we call this the surplus. That's the brown box. Okay with me so far? Seriously, if you get this, you can do deals. Now, the surplus gets left in the business bank account at closing, and since you will own the business at closing, then technically the money's yours. You can take some of it out if you want. Think of it as a payment to yourself for doing the deal, even though as a new business owner, the cash flows are also yours going forward as well. But you may want to spend some of that surplus on growing the business. You might want to hire new people so you don't have to work in it. You might want to buy more equipment. You might want to have a higher marketing budget. It's up to you. So now you know the basic concept of how we structure deals. Let's put Matt's numbers into this framework. So Matt's new IT business was fairly large. It was at the end of it was kind of at the high end of our sweet spot. So it was $4.8 million in annual sales revenues, and it was generating $513,000 of annual profits. Now, the value of the business is based on a multiple of that profit number. So Matt offered 2.8 times the profit to buy the business. So 2.5 to 3 times the profit is the average valuation for a small business. So in Matt's case, 2.8 times $513,000 is 1.436 million. So that was the valuation of the business that he was prepared to meet, and that's what Matt was offering to pay for the business to buy it. Still with me? Okay. So as we discussed before, the deposit payment is made from the business financing its own assets. So in Matt's business, the total asset value within that business was $1.75 million. And from those, the financier that Matt contacted was prepared to lend $925,000 secured against those assets. So Matt didn't raise that money. The business raised that money using its own assets. Matt didn't have to guarantee that funding. The business's assets guaranteed it because they own them. And from that $925,000 of finance, the seller was prepared to take $525,000 as a closing payment. So that left $400,000 as the surplus, which was the free cash available from the deal. So Matt took $100,000 of this out for himself, then he kept the rest in the business to grow it and to hire a general manager, as he didn't want to operate the business himself. Now, the future payments required to complete the deal are $911,000, which is the 1.436 million purchase price, the valuation, less the $525,000 deposit paid at closing. And Matt agreed to make those payments over 3 years. So that's just over $300,000 per year, which he was easily doing that on the day that he bought the business from those $513,000 of annual profits. So even without growing the business, he was fine. And there was still plenty of cash going to be left over to repay the deal finance of $925,000 as well, and take money out in cash flow payments for Matt as the owner of that business, even though he wasn't going to operate it. So that is as difficult as this process gets. So if you understand what I've just gone through, you can do deals, my friend. So here are the numbers overlaid onto our deal structure framework. So the purchase price green was 1.436 million. The deposit yellow was $525,000, leaving the future payments blue of $911,000 payable over those 3 years. $925,000 was raised against the business's assets, that's the red box, and this left $400,000 as that surplus payment, the brown box. So that's it for this particular video. The next video in this playlist will follow, and please check out all the other playlists and videos for everything you need to know to learn how to buy a business no cash down. In fact, I've crammed everything that you need to know into a special 90-minute webinar titled 3 Insider Secrets to Buy a Profitable Business Inside of 99 Days Without Cash or Knowing How to Run a Business. And here are the 3 big secrets, the 3 killer training topics. Think of these as hurdles to you becoming a business owner. First, I'll show you exactly what the 10 steps are to buy a business, and you must follow these in order. It's really critical. Second, I'll show you lots of case studies of deals structured using OPM, other people's money, and it's no more difficult than high school math. And finally, I'll show you how you can get others to operate the businesses for you, so you can do other things like spend time with your family or buy other businesses whilst enjoying the cash flow that your new business is generating for you. So to register for this groundbreaking training, just click on the link underneath this video on YouTube or type in this link into your browser, and I'll see you on air sometime in the next week. Until then, bye for now.